It's Tuesday, November 24th, and you're listening to the Geek News Central podcast, sponsored by GoDaddy.com. Geek News Central is a very proud member of the Tech Podcast Network. Here, I got a great show for you. A little bit of a late start because I've been dealing with a teenager, but got a lot to share with you tonight, lots of tech. You know what comes next. Yes, that's right. Strap in. Here it comes.
All right, people, I need a go, no-go for the Geek News Central podcast. Digital archive recorders.
We're go fly.
Microphone.
We're go fly.
Video feed.
Go.
Web browser.
Go.
RSS data stream aggregator.
Go fly.
Interflux Toddism suppressor.
All right. I'm confused.
Host readiness check.
Welcome to the show. Welcome to the show.
The Geek News Central podcast is a proud member of the Tech Podcast Network. If it's tech, it's here. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we are ready to go. Cue Todd in
5,
Button, who's got the button?
4,
There is no cause for alarm.
3,
Everybody hold on to something.
2,
Just press the button.
1.
Aloha and welcome to the Geek News Central podcast, coming to you as live as it can be from the beautiful state of Hawaii via the Geek News Central studio overlooking Greater Oahu. Hey everyone, welcome to the show. Yes, my name is Todd Cochran, and make sure you get over to geeknewscentral.com. Check out all the great content. Of course, check out our archive podcast available via the podcast link on the website. You'll want to get signed up for our newsletter because the newsletter is where all the action happens. It's where you get every detail about this show delivered directly to your inbox immediately following the show. And essentially, the email is a compilation of every article that I talk about tonight, along with any listener-submitted article, so that you have all of the key points of the show. So when you listen to the podcast and say, man, I want to go check out what he was talking about, you'll be able to do that. You'll find a link to be able to sign up for the newsletter, of course, at geeknewscentral.com. We want you to subscribe to the podcast as well. Subscribing really gets the show delivered to you automatically. That will allow you to get it via your iPhone, your iPod Touch, whatever it may be that you have as a multimedia player. Subscribing to the show in your RSS feed via iTunes, via Zune Marketplace. That's where you get the show automatically delivered to you. That way you will never miss an exciting episode here of the Geek News Central podcast. Of course, I want to welcome new listeners to the show, and I want to give a big, warm welcome to the Ohana, those of you that are longtime listeners of the show and part of the family here. And we've gained a ton of new listeners probably over the last 2 to 3 months. It's really been a remarkable increase. Now, while we've got our core base of longtime listeners of the show, I think tonight I'm recording show number 530. So that tells you we've been doing this for a while. We do 2 shows a week. It's released every Tuesday and Friday morning. But the Ohana out there, the folks that have been listening to the show for a long time, you guys are part of the core audience here. And the show wouldn't be really right without you. And I want to thank you for really your participation and really kind of your allowing me to experiment with my format a little bit here as the show grows. And as always, the content will stay the way it normally does. We'll stay full of tech content. Got a few things to share with everyone tonight. Of course, we want to welcome listeners from 160 countries worldwide. And thanks for tuning in. Thanks for being part of the show. Those of you that are up on Ustream this late in the hour, hey, thanks for coming out and hanging out with me on Ustream as well. And a little update for you. Hey, Podcast Awards traffic continues to climb. The voting is going strong. And I haven't even looked. I can kind of cheat through the admin system to kind of see where shows are at. And really what I kind of do is I look at it the first day to kind of make sure that we're getting good validations and everything's going on. Then I just leave it to the management firm to take care of it. Then I will get a peek at it here after the upcoming holiday as we approach the end of the voting period, which closes on November 30th, I believe. And then we'll get ready for the Podcast Awards ceremony, which tentatively right now, along with the 24-hour podcast, is going to be going down on December 12th. That's unless anything changes. Now, I am going to be going on travel. I'm going to be heading out of Honolulu here on Sunday night. Going to be going out to Texas, be out in Texas for 3 or 4 days. Then I'll be back to Honolulu. So there will be 2 shows on the road next week, the week after Thanksgiving, for those of you here that are celebrating that holiday in the United States. But next week, Tuesdays and Friday show will be released from on the road. We'll have a live event again, probably from my hotel room somewhere if the bandwidth supports it. So, show will be on the road next week. Then I'll be back in Honolulu. Wanted to share with some of the audience members what they've been hearing. And for those of you that are watching the show on Ustream, he had complained about a tick. And I hadn't heard it up until tonight when it was coming through one of the other speakers, which was really, really bad. And I had done a little bit of rearranging of furniture over the weekend. And the one main thing I moved was the switch box for the two cameras that do the point, tilt, zoom methods. And what I have found is apparently that cable is junk because it is bleeding the timing signal from the Sony controller panel to the PTZ, which was right up behind the rack. And so I was underneath the table here moving the cable around, and I've just kind of got it stretched out of the way so that we've got this arc of, I guess, MCON free zone. So that kind of fixed the tick, but I'm going to have to put a permanent fix in, and I think that's replacing that timing cable or the control cable. So what else is going on? Hey, got a contest going on, and I promised Jeffrey Powers from geekazine.com that I would put this out for like the last two shows. I've completely blown it and not mentioned it. But you can get in on a very cool prize package by going over to www.podcastmadness.com, and I'll have the link to it in the show notes. And you get over to the podcastmadness.com website, put your information in there, and enter the promo code Artesian. Artesian, Artisan. If you enter that over to podcastmadness.com, you have to do it right away. He's closing it this week. So that's happening, okay? So you can get over there and get in to win a good prize. And I apologize to Jeffrey for not getting this out sooner, but thank you for him for being patient with me. And you know what it was? I was supposed to add to the notes here, and it didn't twice in a row. All right, what else have I got going on? Got the DSL dropped in. Okay, so I talked last show about having a DSL connection putting in here to replace the Clearwire connection that I have, and got it all installed. And of course, the first thing I did was a speed test. Now I'm paying for a 7 meg circuit, 3 megs, 3 megs down, a meg up. I scratch my head. Oh my goodness! What is the deal? How come I can't? I can bat 1,000 here for getting a good connectivity. So what I called Hawaiian Telecom, said, listen, I'm only getting 3 megs. Oh, we're going to, test your line, and we don't understand what's going on. And a tech called me later and said, hey, you're not, you're too far away from the switch to get 7. You can only get a little over 3. And I'm like, listen, when you guys sold this to me, you said I could get 7. I want 7. Figure out what's going on. If you're too lazy to come out here to fix it, I'm going to cancel it. Get it figured out. You don't try to sell me 7 and then kind of wimp off by saying it'd only do 3. We'll see. They're going to send a tech out, and he's going to check the lines and everything else. We'll see what happens. But I might be stuck with 3, which would really, 3 versus 7 down. But at least I got a good 900K up, which is really, really awesome. So we'll see what happens. All right, on Friday, I really, really got a panacea, I guess. I don't know if that's the correct word to use, or revelation. And I'm getting ready to do the 24-hour podcast. I'm getting ready to do podcast awards. We're doing more roundtables, doing more live events during the daytime with some of the groups that we have. And the biggest complaint I have had for the podcast awards and I've had for the 24-hour podcast is that during the entire 24 hours, all you guys really see is me. Now, I knew Leo Laporte over at Twit had built a box, or actually a setup, that he calls Skypesaurus. Skypesaurus is 4 individual computers driving 4 individual monitors tied into a 16-port switch. I mean, he's got a lot of money wrapped up into his audio switching panel. I think his audio switching panel alone, he's not on a Mackie no more. He's on some digital thing. I think that thing is like 20 grand or something like. They don't even put the price online. You have to call for the pricing, and that's usually scary when you do that. But I wanted to be able to have at least 2 people, and I figured with this new DSL line supporting 3 megs that we could probably do 2 calls with video with that bandwidth. So what I've got ordered from from folks over at, where did I order that stuff from? I ordered it from we're going to talk about them later. Can't come to the top of my head. It'll come to me later. But anyway, really not that expensive to put this thing together. They're little itty bitty mini computers, and they actually have a small, I bought a real tiny hard drive for them, XP Home OEM. Put a FireWire card in it. It's got SD out. So really what's going to happen is these two machines are going to run Windows XP. They're going to be tied into a dual monitor system, which I'm going to figure out where to put here in the office once we get it all built. And then what it's going to allow me to do is patch in people that are on the dial-in when they call in for the 24-hour podcast. So I'll actually be able to have everyone see, basically me and the other person, or two people that call in will be able to put a camera on it or something. So it should be a lot of fun. And, I have to give all the credit to Leo and his team really for coming up with this concept and how to do it. Now, my Switch will support really two Skype systems. I have to figure out how this is going to work with the roundtable, whether or not I'm going to be dialed in someplace the entire time or not. So, it'll just be one of those things I have to work through. And I've got another mixer here, which I can use kind of a backup situation if I have to. But the patching is kind of crazy. Matter of fact, I had to sit down on a piece of paper and draw this thing all out to figure out how it was all going to interconnect. And got my work cut out for me. But I'm not going to introduce it until it's ready. But I want to have it ready for Podcast Awards and 24-hour podcast. It's nothing that's going to come into this show on a regular basis. But it will be something that I'll use for that event and other things that we do during daytime programming, in which we record stuff on the weekends and other times like that. And plus, it'd be kind of cool to do interviews that way as well. Hey, we're still got that 3-month subscription of Go to My PC out there, and I've gotten a couple of entries for folks that have downloaded a 30-day trial of Go to My PC. And I'll talk a little bit about that later, about experience I had with it last week as well, my experience with it. But if you want to get in the running to get a 3-month subscription on me, go to mypc.com/podcast. I have a link up in the show notes for you. You can check that out. Basically, just download it, try it. Doesn't have to put no credit card or nothing like that in there, so you don't have to worry about it automatically kicking in. And then just, use it for 3-4 days, play with it, and let me know what you like about it the best. Video intro contest. Got that going on. Haven't seen any entries on that yet, so a video entry contest for the video portion of the show. And I actually talked with Brian, my creative guy over at Raw Voice, and he's actually going to work with some guys that he knows to create us a new CES 2010 intro for our video content there. So I'm really excited about that. They're really going to jazz it up. And I said, hey, I want something that's going to got a punch to it and will blows people's doors off. So that's coming for CES 2010. I'm all on track for CES 2010. All our people are registered. We've got, I'm taking from my team will be a total of 4 people. Jeffrey's going to be coming down. Andy McCaskey from SDR News is coming. He may be bringing one of his listeners along. So I think we're going to have a pretty big team on the floor in Vegas. And matter of fact, I don't know if I can say anything right now, but we may even be doing a couple live events at CES from the MSNBC booth. That's still in work, but we may be able to squeeze out 2 one-hour segments, maybe one Saturday, one Sunday, doing live events from the show floor, from the professional booths at MSNBC, all the pro lights and big bandwidth. And so I'll be talking about that as we get closer to it. So we'll see how that goes. That's all in very preliminary talking with the folks over there at MSNBC. So we're excited about that. As you know, last year they kind of had like this blogger lounge area. Callie Lewis did something from Geek Brief TV. She did some live events. And really they're open when their newscast isn't going on. They're going to allow people come in and do 1-hour events and use their gear and their camera people. It's going to be awesome. So anyway, that's what's going on with that. And so CS 2010 is really ramping up. It's going to close. It's going to be real close to, I keep looking at the calendar on TikTok, and I'm like, man, it's just right around the corner. So anyway, let's take care of a little business here. Hey, GoDaddy.com. If you're looking for domain names, dedicated servers, matter of fact, I saved myself today $216 or some dollars by renewing one of our servers and using my own Geek5 promo code. You got 15% off. So that gives you an idea how much I spent for a whole year for a server over there. Saved $216 myself on a dedicated server renewal. You can get, again, domain names, dedicated servers, virtual dedicated servers, SSL certificates, and I've got all promo codes for all that stuff. On the website at geeknewscentral.com, there's a link to it. Just go and pick out the promo code that works best for you. Promo code Todd will save you 10%. Geek5 will save you 15% on orders $20 or more. ComSale will get you .com names, renewals, and new registers at $7.49. Todd 20 will save you 20% off on one-year shared hosting accounts. Hey, what a great Christmas present. Now, this is what I need you to do, though. If you're going to buy something for a friend for Christmas, have them sign up. If they're a new customer, have them sign up, okay? Have them sign up, and you pay for it, but have them create the account so they can control it. That's the key. And use some of my promo codes, all right? And get a great Christmas present for the folks, for a person that's out of job, out of work, needs a way to get him or her seen on the net and get some, social media stuff going on. So thanks for GoDaddy for being a longtime sponsor here at Geek News Central. Now, of course, GoToMeeting is the mainstay of the show. Been here sponsoring the show since 2005. And really, I want to take a moment and tell you about some very cool features in GoToMeeting. And these are all just things that just come with the package. You start a meeting with one click. GoToMeeting is available for those of you that use a Mac. You can instantly change presenters from you to someone else. Just a little handoff, a click of a button. True 24-bit color, so you're seeing what's on your screen is what they're seeing on their screen. Chat function. You can chat back and forth through private chats with people that are in your company, and you're basically having strategy meetings or whatever. You can record it and play back for later on. Of course, always disclose that you're recording something. Automatically integrates into Microsoft Outlook. There includes some pretty cool drawing tools where you can draw arrows and points and circles and highlight stuff. It includes phone conferencing and voice IP. And as a listener of this show, you can get a free 30-day demo. That's a month of unlimited online meetings for free. For this special offer, you must visit www.gotomeeting.com/techpodcast. Again, that's gotomeeting.com/techpodcast for a free trial. And thanks for all of you that go up there and download a trial and play around with it for a month. It's an application that I really cannot live without. All right, let me go ahead here and let me tell you one thing I did today. Everything I'm going on for Ustream is happening on my main machine. I eliminated the Mac. The Mac is sitting behind me, actually. So it's a little bit cleaner of a workflow tonight. And I had some comments in email about some folks talking about their workflow affecting the show 2 shows ago, which it did. And I'm trying very hard to make sure that that doesn't happen. Let me go ahead and minimize some of the stuff I've got going on here in the screen. And we do have some voicemails to play at the end of the show. I've got 2 that have come in. And then got some email comments as well. geeknews@gmail.com. geeknews@gmail.com is the email address for your comments today or tomorrow. And +1 if you're overseas or here in the United States. 1-619-342-7365 is the voicemail hotline. Open 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. And also, I have a Google Wave now. So if you want on the Geek News Central Google Wave, you got to send me your Google Wave email to the geeknews@gmail.com address, and I'll add you to the Google Wave. And maybe one of these days we will wave and chat while we're doing the show. I don't know. I don't know if I can manage that, but maybe we'll put someone else in charge of it. So, yeah, Jeffrey's correcting me. NBC Universal, not MSNBC. So NBC Universal is maybe where we're going to be able to have some live events. Okay, let me see here. Let me go ahead and back up, and we'll get into the actual content. Let me close a couple of windows. Make sure I don't close the critical ones. I didn't. So we're still on the air. Hey, folks, we're still here. And what I mean by that is that the Hadron Collider is, they did their first collisions, and they all drank champagne and were very excited because nothing bad happened. And so, I guess after all those billions of dollars having been spent, we can be pretty happy that the initial, I guess what you would say, collisions didn't happen to develop a black hole or any other things that people were indicating may happen in that event. And pretty funny that, all this lead up and all this speculation really at this point has led up to a non-event, which is probably a good thing in the long run. So anyway, this article was over on the BBC. I don't want to, I already talked about GoToMyPC and I already talked about GoToMeeting, but I want to point you to an article I wrote at GNC. I talked about how I was really saved last week by GoToMyPC in combination with GoToMeeting. Kind of a weird deal that happened to me. I'll have it linked up in the show notes. You guys can check it out. But it shows the true power of being mobile and being able to access anything, anywhere, anytime with both of these applications. I'll have that link up in the show notes. I won't go into any deeper. You guys will think I'm trying to sell you something more. But you just check this out. This is a truly exactly what happened. And check the article out up on the website at geeknewscentral.com. Hey, let's talk a little bit about Android. Android has been making some major movement in the news here over the past couple of weeks. Matter of fact, the number of Android phones in use is essentially multiplied by a factor of 6. And we're seeing a huge number of people pick up Android phones in lieu of iPhones. Now, don't get me wrong, iPhones they're still king of the hill right now. But lots of apps are starting to be released for the Android. Photoshop has released their Android app, and it's available internationally now. For some of you that were outside of the United States or Canada, you could not get this app on the Android up until today. But this has been released. And yes, you now can get access to it. I'm seeing right here on Mashable right now. I guess Facebook is down. That's at least what's being put up on their website. This is where I found the article for the Photoshop app for Android. So some of you probably don't care. You're probably sleeping right now. So I got the Photoshop app on my iPhone, and I'll be honest with you, I haven't even used it. So how many? Oh, someone's saying, "Hey, Facebook is up for me." They're saying in the chat room. So maybe this was bum news from the Mashable folks. But anyway, I've loaded it on my iPhone and I haven't even used the app. So if you're using the app, let me know. How are you using it? Is it making a difference with pictures that you're taking? Is it usable? Is it something that you can use on a daily basis or not? They're in the UK, they're reporting a iPhone worm. Now, this is the second one, but apparently the iPhone worm is pretty nasty. This one's serious, and it is happening to folks that have their phones that are jailbroken. And according to a security firm called Sophos, they wrote about the exploitation after a Dutch ISP spotted it late last week. The worm attacks jailbroken iPhones and iPod Touch devices only. And reading directly from the CNET News article, it says the worm uses command and control like a traditional PC botnet. And so they're warning users about the exploit, and there's not a lot you can do about it. This is if you're out surfing around. How does it say it's infected? It doesn't go into it. We'll see what happens with this. But someone was laughing on one of the forums I saw, and they said that the actual response from Apple was like, we told you, if you jailbroke your phone, only bad things could happen. So that's Apple's official response, and don't expect them to fix it at all. All right, let's talk a little bit about Phil Schuyler. He's Apple's senior vice president of worldwide marketing, and he made he did an interview with, I guess, Business Week, where he was really kind of trying to defend the process that's going on over at Apple and their iPhone App Store and their iPhone app application. And I guess in his attempt to explain away the problems, basically saying that 90% of the apps that are submitted make it all the way through the process without being rejected. But he really didn't amplify how many of those make it through the first time without being rejected. And, he says he goes on to say they're rejected for bugs, use of unapproved APIs, or unexpected behavior. stuff that's illegal, questionable, content and so forth. They're also making sure that the applications don't break laws, and sometimes they have to go through legal to make sure that the application is legitimate. And this was in response to I guess, a gambling application that was helping people cheat in casinos or something to that effect. But I think that so far the response from the community has been pretty negative on him really not addressing the major issue of time. From the time the developer submits something, it can be months before they hear a word back from Apple. And it's one thing to submit an app and then in a couple of days get a reply back and say, okay, you got a bug here, you need to change this. But many times that people's apps can go months and do many cycles before they get fixed, which slows down development quite a bit. So anyway, that is where Apple stands, and it's pretty interesting to read his interview over on Business Week. I'll have to link up to it in the show notes for you to check out. But the response from the community, and along with some responses to an article we talked about in the last show, where Paul Graham, excuse me, made a comment that Apple was evil, and a blog post over on quirksmode.org titled it says, Apple's not evil. iPhone developers are stupid. And I had to read this. And essentially what this guy is advocating is the problem with app developers is that they shouldn't be building apps at all. They should be building their websites to be, Safari friendly. And I think he's got it wrong here, because really, you have having an app on the phone that will replicate stuff that's going on a website is much more functional and easy to use than for me to load Safari, find in my browser where the website is, or start typing it in, then going to the website. It's a completely different experience. And he says, I reviewed the apps I have on my iPhone, and most can be released as web apps right now. The exceptions are complex games that are both graphically and programmatically intensive, and apps that depend on device functionality such as an accelerometer or GPS. So basically he's, saying that most apps can be, basically web-based. I don't agree. I really, really don't. And I think he's off base here, and makes me wonder if he's an actual programmer versus a web developer, which is, significantly different in usually those individuals' line of work. And maybe they're one and the same in some instances, but usually not. All right, Spotify. Those of you that live in the UK and in some European countries, you guys are able to get Spotify on your phones. It's been a runaway hit over there. Spotify offers access to over 6 million music tracks, and it's being kind of delayed coming into the U.S. market, apparently because of legalities of royalty payments. We talked a little bit about royalty payments on the last show with Spotify. But there's an announcement today that Spotify now, for those of you in the European countries that this is available in, work on Symbian-based smartphones, primarily the Nokia 6220, the E71, the 5800, Express Music models, as well as non-Nokia phones like the Samsung GT i8-910 and the Omni HD, and of course the Sony Ericsson Sadio. So if you're looking to pick up this app, it's available now on those specific Symbian smartphones, so check it out in your specific countries. Good news out of the Firefox financial report. Of course, the Mozilla Foundation is a nonprofit, and they have published their financial statements from, I guess, this year. Oh, actually, they reported them from 2008. Wow, a little late, to reporting 2008 income. But apparently they made $78.6 million in revenue for the fiscal year, a 5% increase from 2007. Oh, it must be there on October 1 was probably their new fiscal. And so this is pretty good. Doesn't tell how much their expenses were. But this revenue allows Mozilla to pay its staff of approximately 200 people and cover operational overhead such as expense of the Mozilla Office equipment, technical infrastructure. Oh, here it is. Total expenses for 2000 added up to $49.4 million. So pretty good little profit margin there. And so that's nice. Nice to see they put a little money there in the pocket. and maybe have enough money to continue to move forward. And a lot of that revenue comes from Google and putting Google as a primary search link in the Firefox browser. All right, let's talk just a second about Roku. Big announcement today from them that they've expanded their channel store. And if you're a Revision 3 fan, if you're a Twit TV fan, you now can get access to Revision 3 or Twit's content on the Roku. Blip.tv is available as well. Pandora, the MediaFly, those folks are all on there. And I'm going to have to go through and see if I can find my show on Blip. This is pretty big on the Roku, but I would wish the Roku folks would have reached out to more groups and said, "Hey, come on, develop for our device." And we're going to have a big meeting about this tomorrow. My team's going to talk about it and whether or not we're going to build for the API and whether or not we're going to actually be able to get some of our channels over on the Roku or not. But this is pretty big move on the Roku side. So if you got a Roku box, you can now get access to all of that programming. I told you, folks, the dynamics is changing very, very quickly. We're going to see that happening. Now, Audio Collective says, I wish Blueberry had more video features. We support video. Just a lot of people don't do it. Our video is completely it's basically what the podcaster puts up. And it's it's just a limitation of folks not doing a lot of video content. And we support it. And it's just a matter of folks getting out there and making a lot of more video content. It's the wave of consumption on these types of devices in the future. I don't think it's so much consumption on your computer screen per se. But anyway, you guys check that over on the Roku box if you have one. I'll give you more detail next week or actually probably day after Thanksgiving. I'll produce a show and I'll actually talk about what I've experienced on the Roku box with these new channels. All right, are you going out and do a lot of shopping on Friday? I'm going to try to give you a bunch of stuff tonight to look out for. The Apple Store, and you're really just going to have to go online, are making available some discounts. It's going to happen this Friday, so you can probably stay up to the wee morning hours and actually start shopping at the break of dawn. They don't tell what time they're going to turn the ads on. But significant discounts across a lot of different product lines. And actually, a lot of sites are running discounts now on a lot of different products that are available. I've been looking at a lot of the Black Friday ads. And so far, nothing has really reached out and grabbed me. I'm looking for that deal, that really deal. And, I do a lot of online shopping. And so far, not a lot of stuff that has really reached out and grabbed me too much. So, but there is going to be some immediate discounts you can get right now if you don't want to wait and you want to pick up a MacBook. Best Buy, you can get $100 or $200 off an iMac or MacBook Pro with no annoying rebates to mess with. And Best Buy started those discounts on Sunday and apparently run through Wednesday. So you can get over to Best Buy and pick up a Mac if you're looking to do so. Talk a little bit more about Black Friday stuff here a little later in the show. All right, Microsoft is targeting 2012 for Windows 8. So that's the roadmap. Here we are. We got Windows 7 loaded on the machine, and I'm quite pleased. It's a different, going from Windows 7 to a Vista machine is a little weird because of the way the document structure works. And actually accessing the document structure. But going back to an XP machine, oh, man. It's like, I hate to say it, it's like going to the dark ages. It really is. I think it's such a better experience with Windows 7, even over Windows Vista. And I was converted to Windows Vista. I didn't have any issues with it, unlike some other people did. But this is a huge jump. I would, based upon sitting here working with it now every day, man, you guys got to make the jump. You really do. And if you can do it with a new machine, hey, that helps the economy as well. If not, do a clean upgrade. That'll make it really go faster or make the machine perform better. Let's talk a little bit about an article that really today kind of made me just grit my teeth a little bit. And it's over on Ars Technica. And the title of this is Telcos to FCC. Give us billions that don't make us share lines. Good old tricks, just like the old telcos. They want money, but they don't want to share nothing. Apparently, a report come out by Harvard's Berkman Center that it was produced at the FCC's request, and according to the carriers, AT&T, Verizon, and so forth, they're saying it's an embarrassing slanted econometric analysis that violates professional statistical standards and is insufficiently reliable to provide meaningful guidance, declares AT&T. The study does nothing but promote the lead author's own extreme views, warns a response from Verizon. Most importantly, it should not be relied upon by the FCC in formulating a national broadband plan, concludes the United States Telecom Association. Well, anytime that you get AT&T, Verizon, the Telecom Association, to respond to a Harvard Berkman Center study, again, this is Harvard, sending it over to the FCC, you know you have touched a nerve. And basically, the Harvard report really goes after them in a big way on their line sharing policy. We all remember when they broke up the bells and basically said, hey, you will, local bell companies, you will give access to other companies to your lines. You will share. And they didn't like that. They don't want to share. They really, really don't. And here's a quote. FCC line sharing policy since 2002 has taken the United States off track when it comes to broadband deployment. The agency should reverse course and require AT&T, Verizon, Qwest, Comcast, Time Warner Cable, and other big ISPs to open their networks to smaller providers of residential broadband services at regulated wholesale rates. This will foster competition, lower prices, and more innovative broadband offerings across the country as it has elsewhere. Hey, sounds good to me, right? Our dollars, our taxpayer dollars, our subsidy dollars are going to the telecoms to help support their infrastructure. We need to make these companies open up their systems because we have funded the large majority of that infrastructure through taxpayer dollars, taxpayer subsidies. Now, they've done some on their own, don't get me wrong. And if the companies are coming in, they should pay a fair market value for access to that. But I can't get 7 meg service at my house. I live in Hawaii, okay? Pretty modern infrastructure here. I can get 3 megs DSL. My cable internet connection has not improved in 10 years. Has not improved in 10 years. Do I have any choice? Yeah, I got this 3 meg DSL. That's my choice. And that's new. Do we have FiOS here? No. Do we have competition? No. Japan is deregulated, and they allow sharing of their local lines, and they allowed competitors like Yahoo to break into the market with free DSL modems, lower prices, and innovative offerings. Look at their speeds, 100 megs. So we all need to pay attention to what's going on with the FCC and where they're going to go with this, because we need to stay on top of these guys and make sure that we're offered these lines are offered up as a secondary, to secondary companies, and do what we can to support that. Okay, let me go ahead and move on to the next article here. And, of course, all these articles will be up in the show notes tonight. All right, the BBC, design fixed for a 1,000-mile-per-hour car. UK team aiming to smash its own land speed record by driving a car at 1,000 miles per hour settled on the final design, and they're going to be going, I guess, down to, where did they say they're actually going to do the speed test? I thought they'd be coming to the United States, but they're not. They're going to Haksen Pan, Northern Cape Province, South Africa in 2011 to do this. So pretty exciting stuff coming from from the folks there in the UK. And the gentleman that's going to be driving this car, he currently has the current land speed record at about 700 miles per hour, something like that. So he's going to be pushing to do 1,000 miles per hour in this particular vehicle. Should be fun. I wouldn't necessarily want to be him driving because if anything goes wrong, you know what's going to happen? It's going to get real ugly real fast, and there won't be too much to really to think about, in all honesty. Let's talk about Adobe a little bit and security. We've been hearing a lot about Adobe in recent days, really having a lot of security issues. And that should scare all of us a little bit, because I know a lot of us use Adobe products in a big way, and their security experts are saying if Adobe is working hard enough to fix those issues. And makes me wonder as well. Adobe is attracting unwanted attention of hackers, and security experts are concerned that they're not doing enough. And but they're saying Adobe currently lacks the firepower to within the company to support this. This is an article over on Business Week. Adobe, look at Flash, look at everything else, how we integrate with it on a daily basis. Anytime you go watch a live streaming video, it's probably 9 out of 10 times a Flash stream, and running on basically the back end of Adobe's code. So we'll see what happens with this over time. So what do you guys think? Think I'm doing a good job switching tonight on the Ustream side? Is it pretty cool, huh? I'm switching back and forth. All right, Apple has come out swinging against Verizon. New Apple ads to Verizon. Can Droid do this? It appears that Apple is not very happy at all with Verizon's attack on their partner. So it appears that they have rushed and had a couple of videos produced, and basically response was that, can the Droid do this? And it shows a bunch of different examples. The link on CNET will actually, when I actually tried to play them, they would not play. They were hosted over at Vimeo. So I don't know what's going on with the actual embeds here, but they tried to do a little damage control, but it tells you that means Droid is making a little bit of an impact on Apple. So we'll see what this is going to probably get more interesting before it. It's probably going to get more ugly before it gets all done. Imagine this. This on the health and tech side. Imagine you're actually getting an accident. You're paralyzed. You've suffered a brain injury. Your family believes you're alive, but you're essentially, according to the doctors, been classified really kind of as a vegetable. No one's home, but the body's still working. A gentleman by the name of Ram Hubin has been trapped in a series of what would be considered an absolute nightmare for the most of us for 23 years. He could hear everything that was going on around him, hear the doctors talking about him, hearing the nurses talk about their love affairs and gossiping, and people coming and touching his arm and patting on him and talking to him, and couldn't communicate. A couple of years ago, an individual that was a doctor that was doing deep brain scans did a deep brain scan on him and said, hey, there's brain activity here. And figured out that this guy was just paralyzed, completely paralyzed. And he's conscious. Now check this out. Here's his response in his interview. He can only move his hand a little bit. They've got him hooked to a computer so he can actually type stuff. So I'm called Ram. I'm not dead. The nurses came. They patted me. They sometimes took my hand. I heard them say, no hope. I meditated. I dreamed my life away. It was all I could do. I don't want to blame anyone. It wouldn't do any good, but I owe my life to my family. Everyone else gave up. I studied what happened around me as if it were a tiny piece of world drama. The bizarre peculiarities of the other patients in the common room, the entry of the doctors into my room, the gossip of the nurses who were not embarrassed to speak about their boyfriends in front of the extinct one. That made me an expert on relationships. 23 years. This guy has essentially been nothing more than completely paralyzed, and he's been able to hear everything. Whew. Man, I've already left instructions to my wife. Something happens to me like that, you unplug me. That's just like, I'm sorry, that's living hell. That's what that is. Oh my goodness. All right, let's talk a little bit about Cyber Monday, Cyber Friday. Hey, if you want to skip the lines, shop at home. 43% of people last year shopped at home and probably saved as much money as everyone that went out there and basically battled with the masses. And you don't have to sit in lines. You don't have to deal with people acting like absolute maniacs. But you need to pay attention. Here's a couple of sites. CyberMonday.com. You'll definitely want to check that out. That's where you're going to find good deals for the Monday following Black Friday. Of course, there's lots of deals going on now. And I'm going to have a variety of websites for you. Again, cybermonday.com, cybermonday.net, I guess cybermonday.fm. They're all run by different people. You can go directly to retailers' websites. If you're looking for a specific item from a specific manufacturer, make sure you go directly to their websites. Walmart's going to have huge discounts. Target's going to have huge discounts. Amazon is. Everyone's going to be battling for your limited dollars. And I got a good link here for you to check out, again, on on digital trends, on where to really start looking for deals. Cover some more of this here in a minute. You know I'm a big Pogo Plug fan. Matter of fact, I got a couple Pogo Plugs back here we're going to give away during the 24-hour podcast. I have a couple left over. So, sadly, if I'd have known new ones were coming out, I wouldn't have ordered some additional ones, because a second-generation Pogo Plug has been unveiled. Can't wait to see this thing at CES. I'm not going to order one. And those of you that currently have Pogo Plugs or won Pogo Plugs on the show before, you're going to be getting an update for your Pogo Plug where it's going to update some of these new features. But the new Pogo Plug, I hate to say it, I don't know why they picked pink. It's cased in hot pink. I saw a guy today driving a hot pink Mustang convertible. And he had his girlfriend with him. So it must have been his girlfriend's car, but a hot pink Mustang. Whew. Wow. That was you couldn't see that car coming about 25 miles away. But it's been completely redesigned and now offers 4 USB 2.0 ports. It's got a built-in power brick, which is cool. An integrated cable management system as part of its design. Overall, it's a big departure from the original design. It's going to give you a lot of additional stuff where people can surf on into your Pogo Plug, play music, play videos. It'll actually do some video file transcoding for web player playback, do music cover art, improve global search, and so forth. So the new Pogo Plug, maybe I'll pick one up. What is the new price? Does it say? Oh, it's $129. It'll ship before the end of the year. So probably we'll do something after CES. I'll see if I can pick up a couple. All right, how many of you are still big AOL fans? You know, AOL just laid off a bunch of people, right? Well, I think they hired a kindergartner to develop their new logos. Yeah, they're having this big campaign, a branding campaign, and they're showing 6 logos. Oh my goodness. Now, I'm a very graphically inclined person. But these 6 logos, ultimate fail. Unbelievable. Who designed this? I swear it has to be a kindergartner. They probably brought all the kids in, told the employees, hey, bring your kids into school. Bring your kids into the company, and we're going to give them some crayons and a coloring book with blank pages, and they can draw a little logo. We'll give them some finger paint. This is horrible. I mean, this is shockingly bad. I can't make more fun of it. If you haven't, when you see them, your mouth is just going to drop wide open. You have no choice but to. All right, got a good article on PC World about the pros and cons of Windows 7 security. I'm not going to go into that in too detail. Talks a little bit about the what's going on with Windows 7 security. Also got another article over on PC World talking about the Intel Core i9, 6 cores of speed. And I'm pretty excited here. I've just upgraded for my machine, and I'm smoking here with lots of cores, and the machine is processing stuff, and we're getting ready to release some chips with 6 cores. And they're saying it does a great job. The i9 does a great job in some processes, like encoding videos and so forth, but some other stuff it doesn't do so well at. But it does show you the differential between time and speed, on how much faster it does it. Apparently, the comparison is like 16.89 as compared to 24% improvement on the i9. So very cool to see what's going to happen there with that chip. Of course, it's just one of those things. You never can stay ahead of the ball game. You get the hottest and fastest thing, and the next thing you know, you're just like way, way, way behind. All right, Mac users, I know many of you are big fans of the Drobo. Matter of fact, I know Andy McCaskey over at SDR News. He's a big, big fan of the Drobo. He's got 2 of them, and I never quite figured out why Andy needed 2 of them. But Drobo expanded their line with the Drobo S and Drobo Elite. Hold on to your wallets, because the couple of these are priced to really make some damage on your credit card. Now, the Drobo S without drives is priced at $799. The Drobo S will hold 5 drives, and it can go up to it can hold 5 2-terabyte drives, and let's see here, it populated at $1,799. The Drobo Elite in its base configuration will sell for $34.99, and when it's populated with 8 2-terabyte drives, it's $58.99. So yes, $58.99. But that gets you, think about this, 16 gigs. Now, 16 terabytes of storage. But at that price, wow, that's expensive. Just for some storage. Anyway, enterprise level stuff. So if you're a Drobo fan, you'll definitely want to check out their new offerings. All right, Apple has come out with a strange product. Apple's got those beautiful LED cinema displays, and they're gorgeous. You just can't deny that they're not gorgeous displays. Anyone that sit in front of one of them for more than 5 minutes, they're very bright, they're sharp. They're a great product. Well, they've developed a specific LED display for those of you with a MacBook Pro. The new LED display is designed specifically, actually exclusively, with MacBook Pro owners in mind, and it gives you a simple way to dramatically increase their screen real estate. It's the only thing it works with it. You have to have one of those mini DisplayPort connectors. That's all it has. It allows it to connect to it. So this particular monitor, make sure you know what you're buying, because it's not going to work with any of your other Macs out there if you want to extend your screen space. And I don't know if it will work with a Mac Pro or not. It appears not to. But this 24-inch display is specifically for those of you with MacBook Pros. Why Apple would do this, I really don't. I don't get it. I really don't. And someone was saying in the chat, I wish Apple sold their tables they have in their stores. There's got to be someone's got to have those, or I wonder if they have them custom made. The floors, the actual granite they use in every Apple store is shipped in from someplace like Italy or something like that. Every store has, the same type of floor. It's all shipped in. It's not American made. All right, astronauts over at the International Space Station, they've completed spacewalks 2 and 3. They've done some great work out there. One of the astronauts' wives delivered a healthy baby. Everything was good. Baby girl's she gave birth on Saturday, so everything's good there. And, of course, the press went crazy about it. But I think they're due to undock tomorrow and land the day after Thanksgiving at Kennedy. So everything's wrapped up. They've done a good job there. Congratulations to the team over at the International Space Station. Hey, did you hear? We talked about probably 3-4 shows ago how Mark Cuban suggested that someone go out and pay off all these major companies to delist themselves from from Google. Apparently, the folks over at Bing are trying to entice the folks over at Fox, at News Corp, to delist from Google for for some cash. If you can't beat them, pay them off, right? So someone took Mark Cuban's advice. They're going to go right out there and tell Fox, "Hey, you delist yourself from Google. We'll pay you some money to do so." And Mark's philosophy on this is all these companies, AP, Reuters, everyone else, is so cash strapped that they very well may do so. So we'll see over time if this actually happens. Now, for the last 2 years at CES, we've seen this monitor. This monitor is this wraparound display. It's absolutely beautiful. The only thing not beautiful about it is its price tag. It cost $6,500. It was originally Alienware, had an Alienware logo on it, but the company called CRVD is now selling this thing directly on their website. And I guess most of the people that are buying it are gamers, defense applications, and so forth. Of course, Crown Prince of Dubai purchased multiple units, so I don't know what he's using them for. But at $6,500, it's absolutely beautiful. If you've got to just look at this monitor. If you haven't seen any of the videos we did from CES before, you got to check it out. And it gives you 4 individual screens, kind of within a single screen, or actually can stretch everything out across the entire screen, primarily for Mac users. And you definitely want to check this thing. This thing is insane. But $6,500. Extreme gamers are buying 2 and 3 of these and doing them as a wraparound, and they're building games for this thing now too. So, but you could put a lot of monitors side by side for $6,500. I don't know if it improves the gaming experience that much, but apparently it does for some hardcore folks. All right, how many of you travel once in a while and would like to have a eVideo card to travel with? AT&T is announcing a Data Connect Pass. It's a day pass, or really actually a megabyte pass. You can get 75 megs of traffic for $15. Oh, actually, it is a day pass. 75 megs usage over 1 day on AT&T network will cost you $15. 250 max usage over 7 days on an AT&T network will cost you $30. $50 will get you 500 megs max over 30 days on the AT&T network with no contract. All you got to do is buy the card, and then you just buy the day pass or the week pass or the month pass when you need it. So those of you that just need a once-in-a-while card, this might be good, an actual good, good deal for you. I actually got when I got my Sprint card, I was still in the Navy, and I actually qualified for a Sprint deal and got a pretty good discount. I just got basically a renewal contract from Sprint, and I'm getting my data card now for $30. I'm getting a 10% or $10 discount off the top price. I was ecstatic when I saw that I'm only going to be paying $30 a month for my Sprint card now, and no other phone or nothing else. And I've been using the Verizon one as well from time to time. I thought, as good as Sprint has been, maybe it's time to go to 2. So, or a device that will have 2, because really this price I've got is amazing. So, don't ask me how I got it, but someone at Sprint offered it up, so I'm going to take it. But I'm pretty happy with it, with the price. Shop around if you're looking for data cards. All right, how many of you have family members that are suffering from macro degeneration? This is something that causes blindness. My grandmother was affected by it. She was really affected severely by it. But now they're using radiation beams used to restore eyesight in folks that are suffering from macro degeneration. And this is big. And it's a procedure that's being refined in the UK. So I have the link up to that in the show notes. All right, I got a number of links I'm going to put up today from Black Tack Friday, black-friday.net. It's a list of Black Friday ads. Got a Target one here. We got one from Walmart. We got one from Newegg. That's who I ordered that stuff from. Newegg. Love that company. They should advertise on this show. Newegg, you should advertise here. But Black Friday deals on Newegg. Lots of places to find stuff all over the place. So it depends on what you're looking for. Get out there and shop. I'll have this link up in the show notes for you tonight. Got a couple of hardware links for those of you that are looking for DVI adapters, USB to DVI, VGA, HDMI adapters, and so forth. A new company out there called Sewell has some pretty cool stuff as well. And something that drew my attention today as well is a company called Atlona, Atlona. They released an Air wireless USB to VGA or HDMI adapter. This may work with my Skype source if I'm trying to keep things separated here and I have to run an additional wires. Pretty pricey. I may try one. Does anybody have any experience with Atlona? I guess that's how you pronounce that. Atlona, Atlona. And I have the link up in the show notes. This was over on Engadget, and they're pretty positive about this thing, about the ability of this. And really what it is it allows you to plug a USB stick into a computer and then have your monitor so many feet away with no wires with a base station then connecting to it. Pretty cool stuff there. That way you just do, you go wireless. Those of you that are hardcore video guys, and I always love to see what's new in the marketplace. Sony's to release a new AVC HD camcorder. It's called the NX Cam. No price on this baby yet. Probably be too much to even consider, but the NX Cam will be coming out in 2010. We'll try to get a handle on that thing at CES, get our hands on one, and play around with it. Okay, here's the really kind of the. I got a bunch of articles I got to go through real quick, but I want to talk about something from Scoble here real fast. He wrote an article today. I was wrong about full text RSS feeds. As you guys know, on Geek News Central, I've had full text RSS feeds from the very beginning, and he's saying the reason he's wrong on full text RSS feeds is he's now subscribing to RSS feeds via his mobile device, and to read full text RSS feeds is very painful, and he thinks that people should be switching to the abridged version of their RSS feeds. How many of you guys are doing that? How many of you guys would be opposed if I tried this for a little while? And I know some of you just fell out of your chair. Because if you've been listening to the show for a long time, you'll know that I've always been an advocate of full text RSS feeds. But I think he's got a point here. A lot of people are using mobile phones. They're trying to read stuff quickly. And when you have an article that's this big, and I got my hand spread by about 2 inches pointing at the camera, and an article that's this big, a half inch, where it just shows the intro, maybe people are more obligated instead of scrolling past it to actually read what's on there. Interesting conversation. And this basically is driven upon how people are using Twitter, 140 characters, and how it fits real well with in an actual mobile device. So I don't know. I got mixed feelings about that. I always thought that full feeds were good because you guys could just read it wherever. I don't really care about the traffic back to the website. All that's cool if you come. So I don't know. How many of you read the site strictly through your reader and would be totally aggravated with me if I went to mini feeds? Love to hear feedback at geeknews@gmail.com. All right. Robin Good's got a good article on browser compatibility. So if you're building a website, you definitely want to check the variety of browsers out there. And sometimes you don't maybe have a Mac machine, or if you're a Mac user, you don't have a PC machine. But there's some actual apps out there that will test you for compatibility across different browsers. This is a great guide. Chrome extensions are almost here. They're actually going to let people start submitting their extensions. They're going to be doing a review, and we should see extensions for Chrome rolling out real quick. I'm going to tell you straight up, this is Chrome has almost replaced my utilization of Firefox because it just doesn't use as much memory. There are some functions that I can't get away with from using on Firefox, but I have 30-some tabs open. This machine is not even breathing hard. And if I had 30 tabs open in Firefox, the machine would be at its knees. So I've started to use Chrome a lot more, and I know that's going to blow many of you away, but it's just not the memory pig that Firefox is. It really isn't. So I'm waiting for the bullets to start flying. If you're on Facebook, be careful. If you see an image, how should I say this for everyone? If you see an image on your screen or one of your friends' screens that shows some gal in a varying degree of undress, and there's a little something that says "click the button, baby." Don't click the button. Okay, it's a new Facebook worm, and probably make your friends very, very unhappy. Hey, Wikipedia. Of course, people always complain about my Wikipedia entry. They say it's not detailed enough. If there's anyone ever that's a good Wikipedia editor, I'd love to have them go over to my profile and fix it. I don't know how to fix it, to be honest with you. But they're saying that Wikipedia volunteers are falling like flies. As Wikipedia gets older, people are walking away from it. And this is causing big concern. Well, I think it's great because the Nazis that are over there that are editors at that thing, maybe they go pay attention to stuff that's important instead of blasting me on my profile. It's, I think I've earned a place to be on Wikipedia. Maybe it's my ego speaking. I've done enough stuff in this space. I think I should, but I'm not notable enough. All right, Twitter traffic is down. Seismic traffic is up. How many of you are using the Seismic for Windows or Seismic Desktop? I will be the first to admit I don't. But someone had sent me a Twitter the other day saying, talk about this, Todd, talk about this. Who's using the Seismic applications and why? Call me, 619-342-7365. Let me know why you're using that app, why it's so great, how it's changing your life. Clue me in so we can get everyone else up to speed. Oh, do you smoke? Don't smoke next to your Mac, because people are having their repairs turned away by Apple because they're saying that smoking near an Apple computer creates a biohazard and voids the warranty. Yes, you heard me correctly. If you smoke next to your Mac and the smoke gets sucked into your machine through its fan and you have a problem and you send your Mac in for repair, they can reject it because it's a biohazard. I don't smoke, but does Apple think they're God? What is their deal? What is their deal? You bought the device. You paid for it. You paid for the extended warranty, and then they're going to tell them we can't work on it because it's a biohazard. It's going to hurt our employees. Rubbing alcohols on a list of hazardous stuff. There's all kinds of stuff that we have in our home that we use on a daily basis that's on the biohazard list. Give me a break. Another reason not to buy a Mac. All right, finally. Gmail creator thinks email will last forever and hasn't tried Google Wave. I'm sure that made his employer happy. All right, hey, Google Wave. I have a Google Wave. If you have a Google Wave account, email me your Google Wave name and email, and I'll get you added to the Google Wave. I actually added one of my followers here on the show. I actually added him to a Google Wave. I wasn't supposed to add him to Google, and I was stressing a little bit because I had a bunch of stuff from one of our meetings, and I got in trouble with my team, and yeah, you got to be careful which wave you add people to on Google Wave. All right, let's go ahead and get right into oh boy, I'm going to run long. Let's go ahead and get right into the voicemail. Again, 619-342-7365. Haven't reviewed these, so remember, if you call the voicemail hotline, I very rarely review them. And if you want me to stop, I try to stop before we get too far in. But the voicemail hotline is to call and talk about issues with you at the show or stuff that you want to cover, comments and so forth. But we want you to call 619-342-7365. Hey, by the way, if you guys I'm planning, if I'm not too tired from eating turkey, because we're not going anywhere, if you're hanging out Thursday, I'll do a show where it'll be prime time for everyone. After you've done watching football, you can watch me for an hour doing a live show. Okay, let's go ahead and do the first voicemail here.
Hey, Todd, it's Sal out of New York.
Hey, Sal.
Driving me nuts, man. I just had to say it. Okay. 3 words that I caught. I know they call them Toddisms, but I guess they're only cute for a little while. It's Asus.
Huh?
Not Asus.
Oh, Asus.
One of the
Aces.
other ones you always tend to mispronounce.
Aces.
Semantic, not Symantec.
Semantic.
What was the other one you did today?
I thought I quit saying semantic.
Not mortgage. And it's Azure. Azure.
Azure. Okay.
It really killing me, man. It also makes you sound a lot more intelligent. Thanks.
Hey, Sal, you know what happens? When you're going 90 miles per hour and you're doing an hour and 15 minutes, someone ought to do a word count. You do an hour and 15 minutes nonstop and not make a mistake or flub on a word. It's impossible. I don't edit. I don't stop. I don't back up. It is what it is, Sal. You know that. You've been here a long time, baby. So I goof up a few words. It's me. It's in living color. It is what it is. And but I try. Just get on your webcam and go an hour and 15 minutes. Go an hour and 15 minutes and go away I go. And try to not make a mistake. I challenge you. If you can do it, come on, let's do a show. You can do a show. You can be right here with me, baby. All right, let's go ahead and get into the next voicemail. Thanks for calling. Love you, Sal.
Hi, Todd. This is Tom from the Fog View podcast.
Hey, Tom.
Located in the San Francisco Bay Area. And I want to make a couple comments on a few of the shows that I've heard in the past. First off, on the last show, you had mentioned about a little town in Northern California above San Francisco that had the cameras that was taking photographs of cars going in and out of the city. And you were wondering about the pronunciation of that town. That's Tiburon.
Tiburon.
The town is Tiburon. It's a small, sleepy town right north of San Francisco in Marin County. And it's a very nice little town, but they want to install cameras. Secondly, I guess on that same note, I know I guess a while back you were talking about a website framework, and you were calling it Drupal.
Drupal.
I think the right pronunciation for that is Drupal.
Yep.
That's Drupal as opposed to Drupal. I think Drupal was one of the candidates for president a while back or something like that.
You're right.
The third item is about Dropbox.
Yeah.
You sound like you just come across Dropbox and thought it was a great program. Actually, I wrote about that on Geek News Central back in July 19th.
I should
and
write it.
Read it. Like a mini review of Dropbox, and I used it for a while. I really like it. You can use the free version, and then you can also pay a little bit of money and get a much larger version. But it's a great way to share large files like podcast and video and just things between people. So it's a good little product. And I agree with Dave Weiner about it being one of the best products. I guess then the last item is about Photoshop for the iPhone. You had mentioned why would anyone want a Photoshop for the iPhone, and there's actually some good reasons for it. Photoshop for the iPhone allows you to do a couple things that you can't do natively with the iPhone, and one is to crop your photos. So if you take a photo and you just want to crop a section of it, and also to do some level adjustments. And that's really helpful. And so you can do all that in the phone and then just email it off or send it off to somebody else. So it keeps you from having to import it into your system or into your computer and do the adjustments there. So I think it's great, and I think it's great that it's a free app, and I expect that Adobe will probably come out with a paid version at some point. Actually, I use that program. I have the Photoshop for the iPhone. I use it on my iPod Touch, which may sound strange since I don't have a camera on my iPod Touch, but I do have an Android G1 phone, and when I need to actually do some things in the field, I will send my the picture from my Android phone to the iPod Touch over Wi-Fi. I can do some edits there and then send it off to whatever I need to send it off to. And I also use another application called Best Camera for the iPhone, which is programmed by Chase Jarvis. Anyway, that's my comments. You can catch my podcast at the Fog View Podcast, which is at fogview.com.
Hey,
Talk to you later. Bye.
Hey, Tom, thanks. And helps if I would have read that myself, yeah? Back in July when you wrote about it, so I wouldn't be so surprised about this new service. Hey, of course, thanks for calling. Thanks for everybody for calling. Hey, I know you guys love me, and you wouldn't be listening this long if you wouldn't put up with my Toddisms from time to time. And thanks for your view on that as well. on the apps. Tom, definitely appreciate it. Okay, let's go ahead and get into the emails here real quick before we go way too long. But you guys need something to listen to while you're driving down the highway, heading towards Granny's house, right, for Thanksgiving lunch or dinner. Got an email from well, actually, I don't know if I should say who this is. I guess it is. Nigel sends me an email. He's overseas. He's actually in Western Australia. He said, "Hey, Todd, I thought I might share my example of podcasting prior art that may bust the bogus podcasting patent. In the late 90s, Rio Tinto was sending out cassette tapes with company news on them for the managers to listen to in their cars or at home. I would have thought that an electronic tape sent on a regular basis come close to the broad word of their patent. Does anyone else in the Ohana have any earlier examples that may help? I think the days of standing by on the sidelines are long gone. If we do not start pushing back, we'll end up with having to pay for everything that we now have for free. Regards, Nigel." Nigel, thanks for sending that. Hey, send that over to the EFF. Every little thing helps, man. And the link was up in the last show notes. I appreciate you sending that in, though. I don't know how that fits in, to be honest with you, but it's definitely something that maybe worth looking at and having them use for sure. I got an email from Timothy. He said, "Hey, Todd, I don't know if you've seen the Twitter retweet service yet, but here's an image of the retweet explanation that Twitter placed on one of my Twitter accounts." Yeah, Timothy, I'm aware of that. Absolutely. I've had that. They put me on early, and I think they've kind of pulled it back and put it back on and pulled it back and put it back on a couple of times. And, yeah, it's a real cool service, and for those, that probably turned on for most everyone by now. Got an email from Jason. He said, "Hey, Todd, I wanted to hear back from people using Dropbox. It's an amazing product. You get 2 gigs of storage for free, and it syncs my PC, Mac, and iPhone, even sports Linux. It also keeps every version of all files you have, so you can revert back to an old version of a file or undelete. I've used these features multiple times. You can pay for more storage, but I only use it for my important files, so 2 gig is more than enough. I use Microsoft Live Mesh, which is similar, and you get 5 gigs of storage, but Dropbox is far more stable and user-friendly, and Live Mesh does not support undelete and versioning." One thing that I've been using is Jungle Disk. Jungle Disk allows me to have a map drive. It's with Amazon S3. I just pay Amazon for the storage and transfer, and I think I pay Jungle Disk $1 a month or something like that. And normally I put all the stuff right in I actually have 2 Amazon accounts, one for raw voice, one personal, and I drop the files that I'm using right in there. My problem is my documents folder is probably like 140 gigs or something like that. So obviously I wouldn't want to move everything over to one of those services. It wouldn't make sense. But documents and stuff that we access all the time probably will. So I'll definitely be checking Dropbox out for sure. But it's hard to decide which one of these things to use because there's so many different products out there. Hey, got a link in from Amazon. If you've got an Amazon account, you probably have gotten a Black Friday announcement yet. Pay attention to those that are coming in. Save yourself some money. Also, I've gotten an email from Jennifer, a PR person, talking about some Black Friday stuff. I'll have some links up from them. It's additional products out there. Got an email from Suzabel, and it's basically a Washington Post article talking about exactly what I talked about earlier, about Bing possibly, talking to Robert Murdoch about keeping news out of the Google Index. Thanks, Susan, for that. Appreciate it. Also, got an email from Andrew. He said, "Todd, see this obituary of Jian Kusen, the father of the Chinese space program. I think of writing it up for a GNC article, but it's too hard to get right balance. However, you may want to cover it in the podcast, and I'll have a link to his obituary that'll be up in the show notes." Got an email from Trucker Tom talking about the patient trapped in a 23-year-old coma. Thanks for that, Trucker Tom. Of course, you can find Trucker Tom podcast over at truckertompodcast.com. Got an email here from this is one my mom told me about on the phone. Actually, Trucker Tom sent it to me as well, and I just got to share it with you. Hackers steal electronic data from top climate research center. Now, the news hasn't covered this at all, and this really should make a lot of people sit back and think. Hackers broke into electronic files of one of the world's famous climate research centers this week and posted an array of emails in which prominent scientists engaged in a blunt discussion of global warming research and disparaged climate change skeptics. The skeptics have seized upon emails stolen from the Climate Research Unit of University of East Anglia in Britain as evidence that scientific data has been rigged to make it appear as if humans are causing global warming. The researchers, however, say the emails have been taken out of context and merely reflect an honest exchange of ideas. University officials confirmed the data breach, which involves more than 1,000 emails and 3,000 documents, but said they could not say how many of the stolen items were authentic. We are aware that information from a server in one area of the university has been made available on public websites. The statement said, we are extremely concerned that the personal information about individuals may have been compromised. Because of the volume of this information, we cannot currently confirm what proportion of this material is genuine. But basically, what some of this stuff is saying, and again, take it for what it's worth, some of the articles are saying that the scientists that are part of this group have rigged some of the numbers that has been reported to the public to make their argument more positive. Makes you go, It really, really does. So I'm sure this is going to blow the doors out on email, but link will be up in the show notes on this. Got an email from Jimmy. Says, hey, this is pretty scary, and he links me up to the Hadron Collider. That's a video from the inside. Got an email from Ross, and he goes on to say, talking about Go to My PC. Thanks, Ross, for your feedback on Go to My PC. And essentially, Go to My PC, so you know, Ross, is a sponsor of a lot of our shows on Raw Voice. I've just started using it within the last couple of weeks and playing around with it. Thought it was cool, and I'm glad you sent me some information on that. Ross is up in Canada, and he's up at the Eastern Passage in Nova Scotia, and is talking about how he is going to be using it and how he is using it, and also talks about Dropbox and provides some information some of the other folks have used as well. But he does go on to say, you mentioned about having energy hog televisions in California. Here in Nova Scotia, Canada, we have a great government scam. I brought a 32-inch LCD television. I had to pay an extra $40 for an environmental levy. All electronics that are purchased in Nova Scotia have a levy put on them. They no longer can be put in the landfill, but have to go to a special spot so they can taken apart and properly disposed of. Another great show. Again, Ross up in Eastern Passage, Nova Scotia, Canada. Got an email from Michael on Dropbox. He says, it's a great product. The upload download speeds of the free accounts are a bit slow, but for what I do, it's perfect. And he's got a podcast over on Mevio. I'll have a link up to his podcast. Hey, don't forget, if you've got a blog or something, hey, make sure you send it to me in the show notes so I can give you credit for it. I got an email from Luke, and Luke wasn't very happy with me. He didn't want me to read this on the air, and I won't go into it. But, Luke, I will admit, show 528, I had some issues, especially if you're watching on the video. It doesn't sound so bad in the recorded audio because we lost 18 minutes of the show that day, and that I recorded where most of the trouble occurred at. So I'm trying to minimize the amount of audio disruption for the 99.999% of you that listen to the show. And I think I'm working through that tonight. You didn't know, but we were switching screens. I was showing the people on Ustream a bunch of different views, lots of cool stuff, which also brings me up to talking about our $50 winner. 2 people sent me emails that figured out what was new. I'm wearing new headsets. And we've had one of the people that submitted the question has won once this month. So I'm going to actually give the prize to the other listener. And hopefully I find his email in here real quick, and I'll be able to share that with you. But see if I can find that before we wrap up here. We got another email from Joe on Dropbox and how he's been using it. He's also wrote some stuff up on a couple of commentaries based on links I provided in the last couple of shows talking about current state of Windows Mobile. Apple better ease up at the guard check. So thanks for, basically writing upon what we've put up here in the actually I put out in the podcast. Joe, appreciate that. I got another email from Kelly talking about Dropbox as well. Got an email from James talking about YouTube. Hey, James, thanks for watching all the way to the end of the YouTube video, my friend. And today it's really long, so thanks for staying the whole time as well. And on the Twitter ads, yep, understand. Thanks for that as well. And, oh, yes, it was James. James Bibby, my friend, $50 for you. So email me, geeknews@gmail.com. They get a $50 bill for figuring out I was wearing new headphones. And I got to go. This has gone way too long. Thanks, everybody, for hanging out. Geeknews@gmail.com. Geeknews@gmail.com. And the voicemail hotline is +1 619 342 7365. Call me. Talk to me. Tell me what I'm doing wrong, what you love the most. Watch the video. It's really making improvements. But I love you guys that listen to audio too. You can listen to me anywhere, anytime, any place, and that's what the goal is, obviously, right? That if you hang out for an hour and 20 minutes with me on video, you got my love. You really do. And it's both ways. So, hey, everyone have a safe Thanksgiving. Drive safe. Eat big. And then after the holidays, we'll all go on a diet together, and we'll do something to lose weight. But enjoy the holidays and this Thanksgiving Day, and give thanks for everything that we have. And I know many of you out there having financial challenges, job challenges, and so forth. And you'll be in my thoughts and my family's prayers over that. And all we can do is hope that things get better for everyone, and we get back on the road for economic recovery. Thanks for hanging out with me for the long time tonight. Thanks for the Ohana for being here. Thanks for everybody on Ustream. But we'll see you. And I'm going to probably try to do a show Thursday night. Really, I am. I'm going to be here in Honolulu. If you guys are bored, come watch the show and enjoy. But anyway, until next time, everyone take care and aloha.